Okay. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us today for this wonderful workshop, which is hosted by Mel, which is Kitchen Medicines, Cures from Your Kitchen Cupboards. And it's a workshop that's run through Forest Schools Birmingham and Kingstanding Food Community. So we're really excited, and I'm going to pass over to Mel. So off you go, Mel.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to do a little introduction about me, just so for those of you that don't know who I am. I've known Afrik for a very long time. We're really good friends, and she's asked me to do this for you today. I've been working as a herbalist now for about 25 years. I'm also work with lots of different healing modalities. I do various alternative therapies, and I combine that in my clinic for holistic well-being and health. Um, and I've been doing that, like I said, for about 25 years. And it's something that I totally I'm so passionate about plants, food, and that sort of thing. So I'm very excited to be here and share this with you guys. Um, I want to talk to you today about kitchen medicine because when I when I have people come to see me in clinic, as I just explained to Laura, a lot of people are on medications and things like that. And herbs work very, very well, very effectively as remedies to work in the body on a natural level. But herbs can do the same jobs often as medications can. So I can't give people herbs for things that they come to see me for very often if they're already taken some medications. So what I do is I work with food, and food, simple food. Hippocrates, who was the father of medicine, said many, many years ago, let food be thy medicine and let medicine be thy food. And that's what we're going to talk about today is various foods. And I've picked a few because this workshop that I'm running today is a reduced, well, I normally run it in person for 3 hours. And what I've had to do today is kind of scale it down for you guys, pick out some of the best bits, and some of the important basic bits that I feel is important for everybody to know. And I'm going to try and present it to you in an hour. So there's a lot to cover. If I don't cover it all, I will send Laura and Afrik the transcript so you guys get all the information, even if you can't write it all down. Did everybody manage to either print this little sheet off, or have you got a piece of paper and a pen in front of you where you can make some notes? Because that's kind of important, because I'm going to cover an awful lot of information. Okay. Can I just ask for a hands up if anybody's got any experience with any of this? Kitchen medicine, working with herbs, working with food, nutrition, anything like that at all? Can I have a hands up if you have? Cassie says, yeah, sort of. Possibly. It doesn't matter whether you have or not. It just that way I can gauge it a little bit. Okay. Okay, right. Well, let's start then. So what I want to do is I want to, like I said, go into starting with some basics, okay, which I believe is an essential to kitchen medicine, to improve health. And it may not seem like it, but I'm going to go through what I call 5 basic home healing basics, and we're going to focus on 2 of those today. To a certain extent, but I'm going to give you all 5 of them. Okay, so this is where you guys get your pens out and start to make a few notes if you can. All right. So the first one is nutrition. Okay. Nutrition basically goes into, and it covers food, and everything that we put into our body. Okay, so the quality of our food. Um, but for years they've talked about having a balanced diet, whether you have, some, vegetables, carbohydrates, and protein. That's basic. Home cooked food versus processed food. So, with regard to that, we're talking about whether you just shove a ready meal in the oven or whether you're starting from scratch to cook basic food. All right. Raw food is very important to put into your body on a daily basis, whether it's just having a few carrot sticks with some hummus or a big salad or something like that. I've got my niece staying with me at the moment with two young children, and they love coleslaw. So I make coleslaw most days, which, out of cabbages and onion. I put courgette in mine. I put various things, raw, carrot and such. And then it's like, in mayonnaise, but it's a way of getting raw food into your diet. So that's just one possibility. Nutrition also involves whether you take vitamins or minerals, and supplement your diet, because these days a lot of food has pesticides in it in one form or another. And when I was growing up, I'm 57 now, so when I was growing up, a lot of people grew their own food. So, and they didn't necessarily use pesticides. And not everybody can afford organic food. So it's the quality of the food. If you know that it's pesticides on it, peel it, if you can, the vegetables and such, or wash them, but it's being aware of what you put into your body and also what comes out. So nutrition is covered with detoxing. Now that is something that I normally cover in the class that I do, but I'm not going to cover that today because it's quite extensive. But if you're interested in detoxing, again, I can tell Laura, you guys are welcome if you want to know more about detoxing, because it's an important factor. If I just say that every year, if you drive a car, we have to MOT our cars every year to make sure that it runs properly and that it's legal to get on the road and it's not going to break down or cause an accident. And we have to keep our car maintained. We have to service it on a regular basis. We have to make sure the oil's in there and it's got, the lights work. Our bodies are the same thing, they're a vehicle that we have that we walk around in all day. But if we feed it bad fuel, so to speak, and that's the food we put into our body, then it's not going to work as well. And we may not notice it straight away, but long terms down the line, if we're doing that, then it starts to break down. Okay, so can I have a hands up if everybody understands what I'm talking about when I mention nutrition? Okay, it's really important to look at what you put into the body. Right. Number 2 is medical herbalism. Okay, by that I mean the use of healing plants and foods for optimum health and well-being. So we're going to include that. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ways you can prepare herbs and foods in your kitchen. And we're going to cover that a little bit later on in this session. Number 3 is external herbalism. That's herbal preparations that you put on externally on your body. And again, we'll cover a few of those today. When I was growing up, and it's a bit of an old-fashioned word now, but my mum used to work with poultices with us, or compresses. So when my daughter was little, she's 31 now, but when she was 3 or 4, for instance, she had chicken pox, she had a fever, and I used to just get a cold flannel, and I would put a few drops of lavender essential oil on it and place it on her forehead. That's a compress. It's just an old-fashioned way of kind of bringing a fever down, if you like. And that's an external way to work with herbs. So that's external herbalism, okay? Salves, we're going to talk a little bit about today, and oils and butters. And that's a way to use herbs and foods externally. Cabbage poultices is something else people used to use for mastitis, when the breast used to get swollen from too much breastfeeding. Okay, so and a cabbage will draw those toxins out via the skin by placing a cabbage leaf inside your bra. I know it sounds a bit strange. Stephen's going to think I'm nuts now. But yeah. Oh, we've got someone else that's joined us. I've just realized that. Lovely. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is exercise. I know it sounds like common sense, but exercise is extremely important for one particular reason, and that is that by breathing heavily, when we exercise, we literally move our body, flexing, circulating, you know, and we're inhaling and exhaling, and we're bringing oxygen into every single cell of our body. So whether we're doing something gentle like yoga or breathing, you know, gentle breathing, whether we're walking, I walk my neighbor's dog every day around the village I live in. I'm breathing deeply. I'm bringing oxygen into every single cell of my body. It's so important, okay, because by doing so, you're regenerating the cell. Oxygen brings goes into every single cell that makes up who we are, and it regenerates and creates new cells, new life, and new potential in every single cell. And it's really, really important to maintain our good health. Okay, so exercise is number 4, and number 5 is hydrotherapy. When I mention hydrotherapy to people, a lot of people think saunas and showering and bathing. That comes under hydrotherapy. Hydro meaning water. So anything we do with water. When I was a kid, again, growing up, I remember my mum using, I don't know if we still do it these days, when we have colds and coughs and we'd be all bunged up in our noses, my mum used to fill a sink with hot water and put some drops of like eucalyptus oil or albus oil, and then tell us to stick a towel over my head. We'd have to breathe it in, you know, that's hydrotherapy. The other thing I want to mention with hydrotherapy and water, and it's really, really important, is the water we drink. Human beings, every single human being is at least 75 to 80% water, okay? In every single cell in our body, we have water. If we don't drink enough water in a day, and I know that a lot of people say you've got to drink at least 2 liters of water a day. And when I say that, it's pure water, but it's also the quality of the water. So a lot of people might drink coffee, tea that's made with water, but there's caffeine in that, okay? If you're drinking squash, there's sugar in that. I'm not saying don't drink those things necessarily, although just be aware of the quantity that you're bringing, ingesting the quantity of sugar, for instance, the quantity of caffeine and things like that in your water. And that comes under the nutrition section at the top as well, because it's what you put into your body fuel wise, but also the quality of water. So if most people have a little water jug in their kitchen, my mum used to have one that had loads of crystals in the bottom of it. And every time she poured it, they'd jingle around. But the crystals for her used to energize the water. They're not expensive necessarily, water filters. The filters themselves can be to replace them. But it's important because tap water, even though they tell us that tap water's clean, it's not necessarily clean. So I'm just putting this information out there for you to, if you, buying bottled water is also expensive. But if anybody's interested in looking for alternative sources of water, I'm going to give you 2 pointers here that you can write down. One of them is a website called findaspring.com. All right, findaspring.com, and it brings up a map of every single freshwater spring that people have located worldwide. I used to go and I used to go to Glastonbury in Somerset twice a year with friends of mine, and there's a beautiful spring there in Glastonbury that flows out, and people can literally take water containers and fill up their water. Fresh, clean spring water, not with pesticides in it, not with bleach in it. When I turn my tap on, because I've got a water filter, a big water filter, and I'll tell you about that in a second. When I turn my tap on in my kitchen, all I can smell is the bleach that comes out. It's got all sorts of things in it, even though they tell you they clean it. So I'm trying to give you an idea. So whether you want to find a local spring to you on that website and maybe go and collect water that you can drink. The other thing is, and again, they're around £100, but there's a company in the UK that sells water filters. Actually, they're based in Shropshire, not far from most of you guys. I'm on the other side of the country, but they ship them to you, and they're called British Berkfield water filters. The company is Wrekin Water Filters, I believe. So their website, and Wrekin is spelled WREKIN, water filters. If you Google them, they've got a range of them, and I've got a little 7-litre one in my kitchen that I fill up once a day, you know, maybe twice a day, with the fact that I've got 2 little kids and an extra adult in the family at the moment. And we use about 10 litres, but it's amazing water. You will just never want to go and drink tap water again if you filter this through, okay? But that's just another option. So water is important, okay? Right, now that's the 5 basic home healing basics that I say are important. I also want to talk to you guys about flavours. And I'll run through this fairly quickly. And if anybody needs any more information afterwards, then feel free to let Laura or Afric know, and I can send you some more information. But there are 5 basic flavors that we taste on our tongue. Actually, we taste 4 of them, and the 5th one I'll explain about it in a minute. That we taste on our tongue, okay? And they are linked to 5 elements in Chinese medicine. And the 5 flavors, so we'll start with the first one. The first one is sweet. Most people love sweet flavors. They just love sweet flavors. We've got, and actually on our tongue, it's the biggest area right in the middle, I believe, that picks up the sweet flavors that we eat. And in the Western world where we live, we love sweet flavors, okay? Sweet nourishes 2 or 3 particular organs in the body. They nourish the stomach and the pancreas and the spleen, all right, in the body. And so when we have those flavors, they nourish and take care of and support those organs in the body. And I'm going to give you just a few examples of sweet flavors. And I'm not talking white processed sugar, because anything that's processed means that you're left with, that they take the good bit out most of the time, and they then leave you with what's left. Okay, so white flour is processed as opposed to wholemeal flour, white sugar as opposed to brown sugar, or something like coconut sugar that you can buy now in Aldi, for instance, and Tesco's, is a nicer sugar, comes from coconuts, okay, coconut palms. There are things like stevia, which is a herb that I sell to people. That is a plant that I actually grow in my house and in my greenhouse in the winter, because it grows in Polynesia on the other side of the world. But if you tasted one leaf of it, it is 500 times sweeter than sugar naturally. And the beautiful thing about stevia, right, is that it actually nourishes the pancreas. So diabetics who can't have sugar can take stevia, and it actually balances their pancreas, and can, if you long term, if you take it every day, can turn diabetes around. Okay, it's an amazing plant, right? So there's also something called xylitol, which is a sugar substitute that is made from birch trees. Okay, it is, I'm told, toxic to dogs. So if you have it, obviously don't have it spill some on the floor and let your dog lick it up. But xylitol is spelled with an Xylitol, xylitol. And then, of course, fruit. Fruit has natural sugars in it. A lot of vegetables do too, like beetroots, carrots. Most root vegetables are sweet. So we can get our natural sweet flavors from those kind of things, as instead of using processed white sugar, for instance. Okay. The next one is salty. The next flavor is salty. Salty flavors are important because they nourish the kidneys and the bladder, the urinary system. And what they do is they break down things like kidney stones, and they help the kidneys and the urinary system work better. And when I mean salty flavors, I'm not talking about putting loads of salt all over your food. Cooking with a little bit of salt, and a decent salt would be sea salt. You can buy Himalayan pink salt now. You can use soy sauce. Another thing, another vegan alternative to soy sauce is tamari. It's a bit more expensive. You buy it in health food shops, but soy sauce works, and you can buy that from supermarkets. Seaweeds. It's not something we eat a lot of over here, but if you've ever had sushi, it's wrapped in nori seaweeds, sheets of the green seaweed. That might be a way to get salty flavors. And if you know, particularly if you're blue-eyed, you're going to have more of a leaning towards complications, or a predisposition, if you like, to more kidney urinary issues because of your blue eyes. All right. I'm also an iridologist, so I look at eye color in relation to people's genetics. That's why I mention that. Celery. Celery has a high salt content. You wouldn't think so to eat it, but it is high in salt. So if you want to get some salt in of a natural way into your diet, you can eat celery. Parsley also does that. And parsley is one of the herbs we're going to talk about today, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I have to remember when we get down there. Okay, the next flavor is sour. Sour flavors. They nourish and support the liver and the gallbladder. So if you're brown-eyed like I am, that's one of my weak areas, is my liver and gallbladder. All right. So I try and have sour flavors somehow in my diet every day. And sour flavors will be lemons, limes, vinegar, and a good vinegar is apple cider vinegar. Sorrel, it's a herb that grows in my local meadow, actually. But you can, and I don't know if you can buy it, and you can't buy it in supermarkets over here, but it's got a very tangy flavor. So anything pickled, you know, that you're going to pickle, like pickled beetroot, sour flavors will benefit you, and they'll benefit and support and nourish the liver and the gallbladder. Then the next flavor is bitter. It's a flavor that not many people like, certainly over here, but but in Europe, before they eat something, they normally eat bitter flavors, or they'll take something called Angostura bitters, which is it's like a medicine that they take a shot of about 10 minutes before they go and have a meal, and it stimulates the digestive system to help digest the food better. Okay, bitter flavors nourish the heart and the small intestine, which processes all the food before it goes into the large intestine for us to eliminate it. All right. Bitter flavors include things like chicory. You can buy chicory drinks that taste like coffee. Coffee's a bitter flavor. Okay. Leafy greens like kale and cabbage and such have a bitter flavor to them, right? Rosemary is another bitter flavored herb that if you've got a garden, you might have a rosemary plant. You can add that to your roast potatoes and things like that. Do you know what I mean? For medicine, to get those bitter flavors in. Right. The next flavor is spicy. Spicy doesn't have a place on our tongue. Oddly, spicy flavors are felt as pain on our tongue, right? Wherever it might be. I'm a fan of spicy foods. I love chilies. I'll put chili on everything, okay? Ask Afric, she'll tell you. Spicy foods also include things like wasabi, horseradish, mustard, ginger is quite spicy for some people. Spicy foods nourish the lungs and the whole respiratory system right through to the sinuses and also the large intestine. So if you've got any issues with your lungs, or if when you're sick and you've got a bit of a chesty cold, if you were to include things like chilies in your diet, in your food, horseradish, a little bit of wasabi, some mustard, you'll notice it opens all the sinuses up for a start, and it will clear any congestion that's on the lungs. Sorry, I'm banging my chest, and I'm aware I've got a microphone sat here, so I forget it's there. So spicy foods nourish those areas, okay? And lastly, number 6 is neutral flavors. Now, they're not felt necessarily on any area of the tongue. Neutral flavors nourish the whole body, complete the whole body. So this is for people that are necessarily, let's say they're underweight, they've been ill and they want to convalesce and they want to build their body up to support their body. And they need some nourishment that's going to support the whole body, the nervous system. And neutral flavors are things like bananas, oats, rice, potatoes, things that don't have any particular flavor. Neutral, like semolina. I don't know if you can still buy that. I used to have that as a school dinner when I was at school. Semolina and tapioca and things like that that don't have any particular flavor, but they just nourish, and it's like wrapping you up in a lovely little fluffy cloud or a blanket to support the body. Okay, right, that's your flavors. Apologies if I'm going through a bit quick, like I said, but I've got a lot to cover that I really want to kind of support you guys with. So we'll move on, and then I'll take questions hopefully at the end of this, right? So let's talk a little bit about a few herbal preparations that you guys can work with at home, very simply. The first one are teas, herbal teas. Now, there's 2 different types of herbal teas, something we call infusions and something we call decoctions. They're both herbal teas, and the difference is when you buy herbal teas from supermarkets, for instance, in little tea bags, they're infusions. It'll even say it on the box. An infusion is normally made up of the lighter parts of plants. That is the leaves, the flowers, the stalks, and everything sort of above the ground, really, right? So nettle tea, for instance, is it's normally the leaves, but it can include the stalks. And if you've got a garden And if you wanted, you have a little area in your garden like I do, where I let nettles grow, because nettles are extremely nutritious. They've got so many vitamins and minerals, and they're like a superfood. They are literally, you can take 5 or 6 leaves. You don't even have to chop them up, but you can to break the chemistry open. Put them in a cup, pour some boiling water over them, leave them for a few minutes. You can pick them out of the cup if you want. The water in there will go green. You've got yourself a nettle tea. That's an infusion. And the same is from tea bags that you buy. They are herbs that have been chopped up very, very, very small, and they're put into a little bag because it's more convenient, where you can leave it for up to 5 minutes, strain it off, squeeze the bag, then you've got yourself a herbal tea. All right. So you can make that from all sorts of lighter parts of plants because they don't take much cooking. Okay. Now, a decoction is made from the harder bits of plants or foods. So you can I make a really nice digestive tea for digestive upsets, everything from heartburn to an upset tummy to a bit of diarrhea. And I make that from the harder parts of spices that are in my kitchen. Things like cinnamon twigs, fennel seeds. Seeds are harder, okay? Roots, barks, so cinnamon bark, fennel seeds, star anise. They're hard. They're star shaped. Put your hands up if you know what I'm talking about. Star anise. They look like little brown stars, and they've got seeds in them. They're harder parts of plants. You can't break them up very easily. So what you need to do with those things is you sit them in a saucepan and you put some water on them and you bring them to the boil, and then you turn the heat down and you let them simmer over for 3 to 5 minutes because they take more cooking. But that's it. They're still a herbal tea. And then you strain them off and you drink it. You can add some honey if you like or whatever. So that's 2 different types of herbal teas. And that is often the easiest way to prepare herbs and foods in your kitchen, and to ingest them is by herbal teas. That's very, very simple. And anybody can do that, okay? The next on your list is butters. Butter itself, and when I talk about butter, I'm not necessarily talking about your Lurpak. And I know a lot of you, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of you are in the Birmingham area where there's a big Asian community. So I know that you can buy ghee, which is Indian butter. That is clarified butter. They separate it, so they don't need to, in India, keep it in a fridge. And you don't need to keep it in the fridge. Whereas butter, if you kept butter out, because of the nature of it, it will go moldy after a week or so of it sitting out, right? But ghee, I make herbal preparations with ghee, and it's absorbed very easily into the skin. So this comes under external herbalism, which is topical. You can put it on the top of your skin, okay? And it's absorbed right through the skin. Our skin is the biggest organ we have. We don't think of it as an organ, but it covers our entire body, and we've got all these pores. So whatever you put on your skin is absorbed through the skin into the bloodstream. So if you're putting lots of chemicals on the skin, they're going to go into the bloodstream and float around your body. So you know that just is common sense in putting natural things on your skin, because then you've got natural things going into your body. But if you make something out of butters, so you can melt ghee down, and you could put things in it, like I make a muscle rub for the muscles externally from ghee, and I put mustard seeds, rosemary, because rosemary leaves are very very beneficial for stimulating the circulation and warming the body. I also put in black pepper, grind black pepper in, and sometimes some cloves, but you don't need them. And it makes like a muscle rub that is kind of warming, but it also is like an anti-inflammatory. So it reduces inflammation and offers pain relief. and you can not boil them up, but put them on a heat for let's say half an hour to an hour on a very low heat in the butter, and then take them out once, and then pour the butter into a container, put a lid on it, label it. You've got yourself a muscle rub. And when you put it on, it's absorbed straight into the skin. Everybody understand me? Yep, good. So that's just a way. I mean, we also use butters when we're cooking. Who makes garlic butter? Where you put chopped garlic, fresh garlic in, and then you spread it on your bread. That's another way to ingest butters medicinally, not just on top of the skin, but you can take them internally. Okay, it's a good way to get herbs into your diet, basically. The next one on your list is vinegars. And I'm going to give you a recipe here that I use. Vinegars are great for kids because there's no alcohol in them, like there will be in medicinal tinctures that I use. And you can preserve things in vinegar. That's why they pickle stuff. Okay, so you can use vinegar, and the best vinegar, I have to say, is apple cider vinegar. All right, rather than malt vinegar or white vinegar or wine vinegar. And if that's all you've got, then you use that. But if you can find apple cider vinegar and it's available in supermarkets, that's the best thing. So I'm going to give you a recipe now for something I call hooch, right? I know Afric's made it before now. And lots of people throughout the last year, with all this nonsense that's going on in the world, with all, the cold, the cough, the flu, the virus, that sort of thing, it will support your body through all of that, okay? Because it supports the respiratory system, the lungs, it supports the digestive system, it warms the circulatory system and supports the heart, and it boosts the immune system to fight off infection. So what you need is roughly equal parts of onions, garlic. So if you're using one big bulb, one onion, a big onion, then use a bulb of garlic, the whole bulb, okay? Roughly equal parts. 3 or 4 chilies. And they don't have to be hot, hot, hot if you don't like hot, but you're pickling them so it will soften the flavor and it won't be as spicy. So don't worry if you're using red hot chilies, but you haven't got to use the hottest ones, just basic pack of chilies from Tesco, okay? Onions, garlic, chilies, ginger root, which again you can buy in any supermarket. If you can only find those 4 ingredients, that's fine. If you can get hold of horseradish root, that's the 5th ingredient. I know where wild horseradish grows just on the edge of my village, and every year around October, November, I dig some up. Scrub the root up, chop it up. You want to put all of these in a blender, top it up with apple cider vinegar, cover it with apple cider vinegar and whiz it up. And then you put it in a jar and you leave it for a minimum of 2 weeks, right? That's a basic herbal vinegar. When it's done, at least a minimum of 2 weeks, right? You can leave it for longer. Sometimes I leave it in there for months. And you take a teaspoonful or 2 of the whole thing, or just the vinegar, so you can strain it off if you want, or you can leave the herbs in there. And you take a teaspoonful or 2 or 3 times a day if you're not feeling well, or if you just want to boost your immune system once a day. And kids can have it, adults, anybody can have it, okay? And that's a herbal vinegar that I said, very easy to make. If you haven't got all the ingredients, at least use the ones you've got, okay? The next one is syrups and honeys. Syrups and honeys are, again, good for kids, easy to make. Always best to use runny honey. And you never boil honey. So you want to I put mine in a pan with a little bit of hot water, water in the bottom of the pan. And I've got a glass bowl that sits in the top, a bit like a bain-marie, but I don't think you can buy bain-maries now, but it's like sitting one pan inside another. And you're literally, the water is bubbling in the bottom and whatever's in the bowl is being warmed by the water in the bottom. Does that make sense? And then you could put your honey in, and I make one with onions and garlic and a little bit of sage and thyme from my garden, a few sage leaves, a sprig or two of thyme, both boost the immune system. And I make a cough syrup from that. Okay. And you want to leave it again, stir it occasionally, chop the ingredients up, stir it occasionally on the stove. And then after about an hour, at least, you want to strain off the onions, the garlic, the bits in it, and pour the honey back into the jar and take a teaspoonful or two a day. That's a really good cough syrup. Dead easy to make, very, very effective. Okay. And it actually tastes pretty good too, right? Honey's got its own properties as well. It's antibacterial. I mean, some people have stuck it over cuts and wounds to make plasters with. So honey itself is good that way. The last one is oils. Oils are really important because we make salad oils. Who's ever put garlic into an oil jar or something to make a flavored salad dressing, or chilies to make a hot chili oil? You can buy them in fancy kitchen shops. You can buy them in supermarkets. They haven't got the herbs still in them, but they've infused them with oils. So I make a lot of these different ones. Olive oil is always best. Extra virgin olive oil. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's the best oil to have internally, as opposed to sunflower oil or something like that. But it's entirely your choice, okay? But olive oil is wonderful medicine. And then you can infuse things into oil. So this is a simple way. So I make a garlic oil, I make a chili oil, and I make oils. Again, you could make, if you haven't got the ghee, the ingredients that I talked about, the rosemary, the black pepper, the mustard seeds, you can put those into oil and leave them on a sunny windowsill or somewhere warm near a radiator for a few weeks. Those things will infuse, those properties will come into the oil, and then you can use them topically as a muscle rub. You don't need the butter, you can do it in an oil. That's just a different way. And then I go one step further and I add beeswax to solidify the oil into a salve or an ointment that I can literally put into a jar that's more solid, that I can carry with me in my handbag. And I know it's not going to spill out anywhere. Okay. But that's just another step forward. But oils are also really, really, so whether you make oils that you can pour on your food or cook with for food, that's also a possibility in that respect. Okay. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of kitchen essentials. I'm aware of the time. We've got about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to run through these very quickly. The first, when I say kitchen essentials, I've talked about them a little bit already. The first one is garlic. Okay. Garlic has been around for thousands of years. The Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians used it. It's antibacterial. It's antifungal. It's pretty much anti everything, if I'm honest. And by that, I mean it's antiviral. It's an antibiotic. It reduces cholesterol. So I just want you to write these few things down. And then if I've got time at the end, then like I said, I'll take some questions. It's an antioxidant. What antioxidants do basically is they fight things in the body called free radicals that cause cancer. So by having garlic daily in your diet will help protect your body against getting things like that, cancers and stuff, okay? It's been proven to do that. It reduces high blood pressure naturally. It improves circulation. What I do need to say is it thins the blood. So if you know, or if yourself or anybody is taking warfarin, which naturally thins the blood as a medication, you want to be careful of how much garlic you have every day, because garlic and warfarin do the same thing, and you don't want to thin the blood too much, right? So I just wanted to tell you that. It's a great lung herb. Garlic and onions, both of them in the same family. the Liliaceae family. They aid the respiratory system. So if you suffer with asthma, for instance, taking garlic every day, or hay fever or something like that, will benefit your respiratory system. This is why it's in the hooch, the recipe I gave you for the vinegar, right? And it's raw. The best way to take garlic is raw, but if you can't, so I cook with garlic, but I make, out of these 3 ingredients, I make pastes, individual pastes that live in my fridge. So I get 4 or 5 bulbs of garlic. I'll put them in my blender with a little bit of olive oil, teaspoonful of apple cider vinegar, whiz them up, put them in a jar, keep them in my fridge. It's like having easy garlic. I do the same thing with ginger, and I do the same thing with chilies. And then when I'm cooking, maybe 2 or 3 minutes before I finish my meal and I'm about to dish up, I will either stir the garlic in so it's not been cooked to death, or I have it on the side of my plate as a condiment. So I take a spoonful out of the jar, and I'll have a spoonful of garlic, spoonful of ginger, spoonful of chili paste, and then I mix it up and I eat it that way. It's like putting salt and pepper on your meal before you eat it, but you're getting the full nutrition because it's not been cooked. So garlic is also an anti-inflammatory, and it boosts the immune system. Really, really important. Okay. It also, for diabetics, can reduce blood sugar levels naturally. And I could talk to you about garlic for days, right? Same with the next one. The next one is ginger. Ginger, again, has been around, particularly in Asian communities, for eons. It's a member of the Zingiberaceae family, and so turmeric. Everybody knows turmeric, the orange root. It's the same family. It's a rhizome, not a root, actually. Ginger is yellow. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said that yellow foods help nourish the liver and gallbladder. Ginger can do that. It warms the body. So if you can't take chilies, ginger warms the body better, and it's not as spicy. So it's an alternative if people don't actually like the taste of chilies. If chilies are too spicy for you, all right. Ginger settles digestion. It's anti-nausea. So if you're feeling sick, if you get travel sick, morning sickness, you're feeling just a bit queasy, ginger tea, ginger root, grated up or something with some hot water as an infusion will be great for settling the digestion and soothing the digestive tract. It also is a decongestant, meaning that it clears a lot of phlegm and mucus in the lungs and throat. All right, so it's really good for that. Again, why it's in the vinegar that the information I gave you. It promotes sweating, so it will sweat and bring out a fever, for instance, or a cold or a flu or something like that. And if you've got menstrual cramps, it offers mild pain relief. Ginger tea will help to ease digestive cramps, tummy cramps, and menstrual cramps and pain that way. It also wakes your head up a little bit. Excuse me. If you drink it as a tea, it stimulates the brain. So if you're feeling a bit foggy and you can't think very well, ginger will wake your head up a little bit. Again, just to let you guys know, it also thins the blood a little bit. So use it sparingly if you are also taking blood thinning medication. Okay. That's ginger. Another one that I think is essential for everybody in the kitchen, and I know I've already mentioned it a little bit, so I'll break it down slightly, is chilies. Chilies, little spicy fruits. Most people don't like them, but they're a member of the Solanaceae family, the nightshade family, same as potatoes, tomatoes, aubergines. So if you have if you've got an allergic reaction to them, you're obviously not going to eat chilies if you don't eat bell peppers and potatoes and stuff. But if you haven't, chilies are amazing. They've got the same chemicals in them as raw chocolate. So they help create endorphins, which make you feel better about yourself. They're a natural antidepressant, chilies are, okay? They've got happy molecules in them that work on the neurotransmitters in the brain and make you feel better, okay? They also stop bleeding on contact. So they are known as a styptic. When my daughter was little, she was swinging in the kitchen between two countertops. She slipped, she hit her head, she was wearing glasses. The glasses cut the top of her head. I was cooking in the kitchen. First thing I did was I got chili powder out, cayenne powder, and grabbed her in my arms and put a little bit of cayenne powder just on the cut. Within seconds, literally, you can count to 10. It stops the bleeding. It will also slow a heavy menstrual flow. You never want to stop it. But if you're bleeding heavily with your period, girls, you want to slow it down a little bit. Taking cayenne powder in a little bit of warm water will slow the flow down, all right, internally. It aids digestion. Chilies equalize blood pressure. So if your blood pressure is too high, having chilies daily, whether you do it with the paste, like I mentioned, or whether you have it in a little bit of warm water or sprinkle half a teaspoon of chili powder on your food, it will bring your blood pressure down. If it's too low, it will bring it up. So it equalizes blood pressure naturally. It also thins the blood a little bit, bear that in mind. It will boost immunity, and it also reduces cholesterol in the bloodstream naturally, okay? Chilies are amazing. They're just amazing. I love them, so I can talk to them about them forever. But yeah, I just totally love chilies, all right? Now, I'm aware we're running out of time. I don't know how we're doing in that respect. And we've got 6 more herbs I want to cover. What I might do is cover 1 from each area and then send Afric and Laura the information on the other 3 that we won't cover, if that's all right with you, Laura. All right. If we can have a few extra minutes, right? So let's start with cleansers. And the most important one that I'm going to talk to you about is lemons and limes. Okay. Lemons and limes are acidic outside the body, but when we ingest them, when we take them into our body, whether we eat them, lemon juice and limes in water, when we take them internally, they become alkaline. They clean our body. Why do you think they put lemon juice in washing up liquid? To cut through the grease. They help the liver and gallbladder, which are major organs in the body that have to detox and cleanse all the toxins, all the chemicals, all the medication, all the processed stuff, the poisons and toxins that we take in through our food, through the air we breathe, all the toxins that go into our bloodstream, the liver has to process and eliminate and flush through, right? A bit like a big sponge. The lemons and limes process those toxins and help the liver and gallbladder, all right? So lemons and limes are a great processor for that. They are very high in vitamin C, vitamin A, and citric acid, which boost immunity. Lemons and limes are both antibacterial and antiviral. Means they fight viruses, they fight bacteria and infections. Okay. They treat kidney and bladder stones and gallstones by breaking them down. So if you know you've got kidney stones, gallstones, liver problems, lemons and limes, lemon juice and water, half a lemon or half a lime juice in water first thing in the morning. I know this is something Afric does every day. Will flush through and support the body that way. They're also antifungal and antiparasitic, so they help move parasites and fungal things through the body. They're also antibiotic, a bit like garlic, really. They boost the immune system, so they're great for colds and flus and things like that. They alkalize the body and they improve digestion. Okay. They're great cleansers for the body and really important. When I go back to the beginning where I said we need to maintain, cleanse our body like we do our cars, the lemons and limes, if you just do that every morning, juice of half a lemon squeezed into a cup, pour some warm water on them. You can add a pinch of cayenne pepper if you want. Knock that back before you do anything else, before you have your tea, your coffee, everything. Okay, that's your first cleanser. I've got another one, and the second one is parsley, but I will send Laura the information on that so you can fill that in yourselves. I want to give you a supportive herb or food that you'll find in your kitchen, right? And let me just find the info, because I've got two of them and I can't remember which one's which. Let me just bear with me a second, because I've got information notes on here so I can. So where are we? We've got builders. So I've got a choice from beetroot or broccoli, and I think I'm gonna go with broccoli. Is probably, just give me a thumbs up. Who wants broccoli? Who wants beetroot? Broccoli or beetroot? Broccoli? Beetroot? You'd prefer broccoli? Or both? You will get both, but I'm going to talk about the first one. I'm going to talk about broccoli, because broccoli, both of them build the body up. Okay, I'll send, if I talk about broccoli now, I'll send Laura the information on beetroot. Okay, so broccoli, right? Broccoli does all sorts of mad things. It's actually a cancer preventative. It regulates blood sugar, so it's good for diabetics. All right. It strengthens the bones. So if you've got osteoporosis or any kind of, or you break a bone, broccoli, it's part of the family of cruciferase, like cauliflower and Brussels sprouts and cabbages. It's that same family. And it eliminates excess estrogen from the body, right? If you take it. So for ladies in the menopause, for instance, or perimenopausal, I know I'm going through it myself, so I have broccoli almost every day, right? Steamed broccoli. It's an antioxidant. Again, it fights cancers or things that can cause cancer in the body, right? It lowers blood pressure naturally. It lowers cholesterol naturally. So if you've got high cholesterol and you want a natural way to reduce that, eating broccoli will also help that. It is an anti-inflammatory, meaning it reduces inflammation in the body. And a lot of diseases that we have these days is down to too much inflammation in the body. It regulates blood pressure, I talked about. It aids digestion. It is a complete food. It offers so much nutrition: iron, calcium, vitamins A, vitamin C, vitamin K, vitamin B9, which is folic acid. I know I'm talking fast, trying to get through a lot, but it is like a complete food, just like apples are. Apples are a fantastic builder for the body as well. Okay. And it helps digestive things like constipation. So apples are the same sort of thing. They work with reducing all of that. And broccoli is great for weight loss because it draws excess estrogen, which binds to fat in the body, and it eliminates it. So if you're looking to lose weight or reduce, you know, your cholesterol and your fat in the body, eating broccoli and cauliflower will do a similar thing every day. Steam it, will really, really help. Okay. And then the last one, I want to give you a builder, a herb or a food I've given you a builder, sorry. I want to give you a supportive. And the prime supportive that I want to talk to you about is oats. Who likes porridge? Flapjacks, that sort of thing, right? Oats are also a complete food. Remember I mentioned them earlier, coming under the neutral flavors, so they help the whole body. Oats have so many B vitamins in them, it's unreal. B vitamins nourish the nervous system. So if you're under stress, if you're anxious, excuse me, I'm talking too much. If you want something to support you because you've got, you know, anxiety, stress, you're nervous, you have panic attacks, even if you're just a bit like me, I talk too fast, that's my nervous disposition. I can babble away like a nutter, okay? I know I'm slightly of a nervous disposition. I'm not shy, but I just talk too fast. Oats will nourish the nervous system. It's like putting you into this lovely warm blanket that kind of cuddles you up and supports you all completely, okay? Oats, like I said, they're very, very high in all the B vitamins except B12. They're very high in calcium and magnesium. They also nourish the nervous system. So they support the body. They're a general tonic for the adrenal glands, which suffer when we're stressed. They will soothe the digestive system to, again, when we get anxious, we can get upset tummies. Everything kind of comes from the solar plexus here. They soothe the digestive tract. They're very, very neutral, very, very naturally supportive. It can naturally balance hormones, a bit like the broccoli does, by taking excess hormones out of the body, and naturally lower cholesterol as well. They're known as an amphoteric, which is a posh word for something that looks at balancing extreme conditions in the body. So anxiety, for instance, is an extreme condition. You're not balanced in that sense and you feel anxious and nervous or most of the time, then oats will support you in bringing you back into balance a little bit, okay? They slow down blood sugar, so they're good again for diabetics, and they're a natural antidepressant. I know it sounds weird, but they will support you because, again, like garlic, not like chilies do with the happy chemicals, they'll naturally support your mind and your body and make you feel more comfortable, more balanced, more grounded, and a bit happier in that sense, okay? They're also very rich in fiber, so they're very good for digestive issues, constipation and things like that. So ways you can use it for stress, you can use them for fatigue if you're very tired, because they'll boost your body that way. If you're feeling very, very nervous, if you've decided to quit smoking, so you're feeling a bit anxious because you know you're coming off of tobacco, for instance, they will support you through that as well, beautifully. And externally, oats will help to support if you've got skin conditions. They're very, what we know as emollient. They'll very, very gently soothe external conditions. So if you get a lot of eczema or itchy rashes, you can add oats to your bath water and soak in oats, and they will help to nourish and support the body externally in that sense. So they're great for irritating skin conditions. All right. And the last one was cinnamon, but I'll send Laura the information on that. Okay. I'm going to leave it there because I know we've kind of, I know we've run over by about 5 minutes, and my apologies for that. I hope I wasn't going too fast. I hope I wasn't giving you information. I hope you've gleaned a little bit of something there with that. I will send, like I said, Laura, the information that we didn't cover, because otherwise we could make it an hour and a half, and I know you guys have got other things to do today. But I'm happy to take a few questions if we've got time, Laura, if anybody's got any questions about anything. I just wanted to mention that I have an online medicine course, so I've just plucked a few things from that, and if anybody's interested, I can give you some information, or I can pass it on to Laura about that, if that's helpful to anybody. But I'm happy to take a few questions if we've got time, my love.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Sorry, I'm just trying to unmute people already if anyone wanted to ask any questions, but there's a bit of background interference.
That's all right, I can hear it a little bit.
Hold on. What I'll do, I'll just mute everybody. Can everyone just mute themselves again, and we can pop our hands up instead if we got a question? Okay, right. If anyone's got any questions, wave at me and I can unmute.
No questions.
What?
What?
Is this going to be when we get off and everyone's suddenly going to be emailing me going,
I wish I had said that. Yeah. Questions on anything really, in health related, food related. I'm happy to answer them if anybody's got them. And
yeah, if there's anything specific, maybe Mel, if you want to just perhaps email me direct, and I can contact Mel. It might be something we don't want to share.
Very happy to do that. Very happy to do that. Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting, isn't it? It's just the things that you've got, that the amount of things that it can actually do for you is
there's a wealth of, there is seriously in your kitchen cupboards. And I've tried to cover things that most people can access, most people can get hold of, but there is literally a wealth of medicine in your kitchen cupboards, and has been for years, and it's just knowing what to do with those foods and things, So I just, for me, it's when I discovered this nearly 30 years ago in my initial training, I was amazed myself, because I had no idea. And I've worked with this naturally for, like I said, 25 years in clinic, and I just totally love it. I just love the fact that, you can make your own medicine. I mean, I do 100 workshops, and Alfred, again, she may invite me back to talk about something else. But I want to thank you all for being present with me today, for allowing me to share this, because it's something that I just totally, I live every day. I totally love it, and I want to thank Laura and Afrik for giving me the opportunity to share this, because it's just something that I feel is so important for people, especially in this day and age, to empower people to know that they have this ability at home to be able to take care of themselves, But seriously, if anyone has any questions after this, because it's always afterwards, isn't it, when you go, oh God, I wish I'd have asked her that, if you email Laura, and then Laura or Afrik, and then they can email me, I'll be happy to answer the question. And I will send over the information on the last three that we didn't cover today: the cinnamon, the beetroot, and parsley were the other three herbs that or foods that I wanted to mention, that are accessible to everybody, and they're really, really beneficial. All right. So I don't know what else to say other than thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that's brilliant. Honestly, Mel, thank you so much. That was really good.
Auntie Mel?
No, it's the accent. just thank you so much. I can call you Auntie Mel if you want me to.
Everybody else, no, yeah, it's just I'm used to that with the two little kids. Auntie Mel, they call me, and that's what I thought I heard. Sorry.
It's fine. It's nice being called Laura instead of mummy. Is all I hear at the moment. But that's brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for participating. I'm going to email everyone later, if that's okay, to get a bit of feedback. And Mel, if you stay on a minute, we can have just a quick catch up before we go.
Absolutely.
But again, thank you guys so much. So if you want to leave, Brill, and I will email you a little bit later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.